my dear students. How are you? Fine, that's great. Dear students, we are now going to start course of English and the third unit. Unit 3. Robinson Crusoe discovers a footprint. Robinson Crusoe has also experienced has in his life. Students, Daniel Defoe was English writer who has written by novel Robinson Crusoe in 1790. This chapter, Robinson Crusoe discovers footprints and extract from the novel. So, let's study what has been given in extract. Robinson Crusoe's ship had been destroyed by the sea. He had been alone for many years and longed for company. One day he discovers a footprint on the sand. Let's find out what he did then. One day, when I was going towards my boat, I was surprised to see the footprint of a man on the sand. Now, let's see. One day, I is a Robinson here. Now, students, pay attention to chapter. Here, Robinson Crusoe telling his own story that she is writing his autobiography, so all belongs to Robinson Crusoe here. So, he is telling that one day was going towards my boat. I was surprised to see the footprint of a man on the sand. When Robinson Crusoe was going towards board, his small boat, and when he going to discover footprint on sand and footprint of the man, and he was surprised because for many years nobody on the island. I stood amazed. I listened. I looked around me. I could neither hear nor see anything. Robinson Crusoe says he was amazed, surprised so much, and he listened to and he looked around him. He was searching for a person whose footprint it is this, but anything he could neither hear nor see. Anybody he could sound around him. I went up higher to look down. I went up the shore and down the shore, up the shore and down the shore, but it was no good. I could find no other footprint but that one. Robinson Crusoe trying to find out person whose footprint it is this. I went here and here up the shore, down up the shore and down shore, but of no good. That means he could not find any. He could not find an other footprint as well. I went to it again to see if there were any more footprints and to tell if it had been my imagination. Robinson Crusoe was thinking it is imagination only that. Now he wanted to Now, if this footprint is real or imagination, he only so went to the footprint again and he was to investigation footprint. Okay? But I was not mistaken, for that was exactly the print of our foot, toes, heel, every part of our foot. I could not imagine how it came there. Now, investigate closely, he found that it is a footprint. Only footprint of a man, every part of a foot, toes, heel, everything printed on the sand. So, he now found that it was not imagination. It is the real footprint. Okay? But now he could not imagine how. It came there. How did came print came there? I stay a long time thinking, but become more and more confused. Then he stopped, thought and thought, but he was more confused and he could not find whose footprint is this. Okay? Understand? Good. At last, I returned home very frightened, looking behind me after every 2 or 3 steps, mistaking every bus and free to be man. At last, Robinson Crusoe returned home. He was very frightened and he was going to home. He was looking back again and again. Because he was frightened, he also mistaken every bush and tree to be men. He was thinking that man, he was very frightened. If somebody come, he will kill him. Okay? When I came to my cave, which I called my castle, I ran inside it as if was being chased. When Robinson Crusoe reached at home, his home was cave and called his home, that is cave or castle. I ran inside it as if I was being chased. Chased means somebody coming in the afternoon, thought that being chased. Okay? I do not remember whether I used the ladder or went in the hole in the rock. He was not remember. He was so much frightened that he even not remembered that he used ladder or not. Which I called the door. I ran for cover faster than an animal could run. Now, cows do not have doors. Students, as you all know, he describing a cow. A cow don't a cow, but rock was there, which is called dog. I run for cover faster than any animal could run. I run, Robinson Crusoe ran faster than an animal because he was very, very frightened, did not sleep that. I did not sleep that night. The more I thought about what I had seen, the more afraid I became. Whenever I thought about what happened today that day, he became more and more afraid. He more and more frightened. I thought it could be one of the savages of the mainland who had wandered out the sea in small boat. Now, he thought this is imagination only. He thought that he must be a savage, means beast. So some beast who was live in the mainland came there wandering in a small boat. Okay? Luckily, I was not on shore at that time. But what if he had seen my boat? If he had seen the boat, he would have realized that someone lived on the island and would soon return with others to kill and eat me. Now, he was thinking that luckily I was not on shore at that time. Savage came there, but if he has seen my boat, he must go back, and he will come back with his other friend. They will search me and kill me and eat me. No, Robinson Crusoe, it was frightened that savages are come and eat me. No, because now they know that somebody living in this island. And so I lay fearful for many days and prayed for protection, and doing so I was much comforted and began going out to investigate. But even now, as I went forward, I looked behind me frequently because I was still very frightened. And so I lay fearful many days that night, not sleep, and even for many days he was very, very fearful and prayed for protection. Protection means rakshit karna. In his praying, God, please help me. He feared of himself. In doing so, I was much comforted and began going out to investigate. But even now, as I went forward, I looked behind me frequently because I was still very frightened. Now, many days passed and he is comforted. Somehow he is less fearful now, but still he is fearful whenever he will Annie. Where he looked behind him frequently, again and again he looked behind because he was still frightened. Next. However, as I went about for 2 or 3 days and saw nothing, I become a little bolder. I decide to go down to the shore again and examine the footprints. Once more, I decide to measure it with my own footmark. Now, after some days, I check the footprint again, which has been. I decided to measure it with my own footmark. Now she thought that let me measure it. He want to measure it with of mark my own footmark of my own. As I came closer to the footprint, I realized that it could not be my footprint because I had not come to this part of the beach since a long time. Secondly, as I placed my foot alongside that footprint, it seemed larger than my own. When he went there near the footprint, he thought he concluded that it is the would not his footprint because it was not come there for a long time. There was not a long time at scene larger than. Secondly, as I placed my foot alongside that footprint, secondly, when he placed the footprint, he found that larger than on foot, so it means it is not his foot. My fear returned. I went home again, believing that there was someone there. The island was inhabited. Now, he was fearful again and he went home. Again and he thought that somebody, it is the island. This island was inhabited. In what habitat? Inhabited means occupied. It means Robinson Crusoe now was here that there was somebody living on the land and the will be savages and will come and eat him. So this was story, this chapter, which has been taken the novel Robinson Crusoe, written by Daniel Defoe. I hope my dear students understand the Robinson Crusoe extract. Okay, good. Thank you.